About a year ago, I first started trading NFTs, and this is the video that I wish had existed back then. Hey guys, it's DeFi Bay here, former corporate slave and realtor turned into multi-hyphenate degen trader, content creator, and artist. For the last 12 months, I've been buying and selling NFTs on Ethereum, Solana, and Polygon. And so on this special 1-year anniversary, I figured I should make this video and share all of my biggest takeaways and lessons learned so that you don't have to. As always, this is not financial advice. You should always DYOR or do your own research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. With that being said, let's get started with how I got into NFTs. I initially started in crypto back in 2017, but I'd kind of forgotten about it because bear markets are boring and there wasn't a social element to it. This is where NFTs came in. At first, I thought it was the stupidest thing, paying hundreds and thousands of dollars for JPEGs that you could right click and save. I also never collected anything such as Pokemon cards or baseball cards, figurines, and the likes. So that aspect never really clicked for me. Then the space exploded when Beeple sold his NFT for $69 million. And suddenly NFT communities were popping up everywhere on crypto Twitter. My curiosity got the best of me. I picked a few cute NFTs and just kind of started from there. Obviously at the time, the space was super new and way less developed. There were no channels like this on how to do analytics, how to find stuff, how to even figure out downloading MetaMask and going through OpenSea transaction fees and all sorts of stuff. So definitely had to learn that just by doing it. And that's one of the reasons I started this channel. So first you need to understand that this space is an incredibly fast moving space. A week in NFTs is like 6 months in real life. And that is why Twitter is super important and why you should be following me on Twitter, because the speed that information travels on Twitter is unmatched. There have been many ups and downs. I've made money, I've lost money, but ultimately I have learned so much and I'm gonna share all that with you guys. In hindsight, I was fortunate that I came to NFTs via crypto and DeFi because that meant I already had a basic understanding of blockchain, crypto, Web3 wallets, cold storage. Here are my biggest lessons learned, aka tuition paid. First, it takes money to make money. This is more true for blockchains like Ethereum because the gas fees are so much more costly. Minting prices last year were anywhere from 0.02 ETH to 0.08 ETH, which at the time was a few $100s. But the thing was, gas prices were really expensive because the network was congested and ETH was also around all-time highs. And it wasn't rare to pay more in gas than for the actual item itself. And so if you really wanted to get momentum, you kind of had to play like a VC where you make multiple bets knowing that probably 90% of them will go to zero, but your 10% winners are gonna hold your portfolio up. And those are the ones that you need to write out and double down on. So when you factor in the exorbitant transaction fees, you're looking at probably 4 to 5 digits. Yes, I know it's a lot, and obviously it's definitely possible to start with less, but realistically, if you want a good, sizable starting position, I would say $10,000 to $20,000 on Ethereum. Solana and Polygon are going to be much cheaper and therefore much affordable to the masses. I initially started out with about 1 ETH. Number 2, money goes where attention flows. Sadly, most of the space isn't here for the art. And that feel-good marketing slogan was mostly BS. The rest are exceptions. This is the internet, where memes flourish and weird 4chan stuff takes flight. This is actually how I missed out on massive profits in projects like MFers, which peaked around 6 ETH, Loot, which peaked around 23 ETH, and Goblins, which peaked around 7 ETH. So definitely one of those examples where art is very subjective and not the most important thing in an NFT project. Number 3 is nothing goes up consistently forever, and you will not be able to time the top perfectly every single time, because if you were, you'd be an amazing trader and you probably wouldn't be watching this video. Profit is profit. My other good trade was Doodles. This one I entered at around 1 and then I sold for about 4.7. So plus or minus all the different fees and royalties, this was pretty much a 3x. It's only a little painful because right now the floor is about 12 ETH, which is another 3x that I missed out on, but I still got a 3x. And that reinforces that profit is profit and you shouldn't look back. Number 4 is do not trade emotionally. Basically, don't FOMO into buying stuff, and if you did, it's better to cut losses than diamond hand it to zero. This one was actually really hard for me to internalize because I'm kind of like a maximizer and was probably greedier than I should have been, thinking that there was more upside than there actually was. To learn this lesson, I paid tuition to Fanta to a unrealized loss of $13,000. Fanta was a project that I caught mid-pump. It actually ran all the way up to about 7 ETH average and has now crashed to a floor price of 0.69 ETH. This project had massive FOMO. There was massive hype. Everyone on Twitter was threading about how this was going to be the Bored Ape of the East, how Asia was finally waking up and all this fresh money from whales in China and Japan and Korea were going to come and make massive waves in the NFT space. I've definitely made this mistake more than once. To help with this, keep a spreadsheet of all your trades because you're gonna start to forget your P&Ls the more that you trade. And trust me, each trade is complex due to the royalties, the gas fees, and constantly fluctuating price of the crypto that you're using. Honestly, I was too lazy to do this in the beginning. I was just trading cute pictures of cats and all this other stuff. And then you start to realize, wait, these are tax liabilities and it's really effing complicated. So I would definitely recommend keeping a spreadsheet and then making a note of all of your good and bad trades. This way you'll be able to see a pattern in your good and bad trades. For example, maybe all of my bad trades were because I traded emotionally, or maybe because I was copy trading some wallet that actually was terrible to copy trade, and maybe some of my good ones were when I took profit instead of trying to wait and time it to the very top. And the more that you do this, the more that you can take emotions out of the trade. And then number 5 is TV shows and celeb status do not matter. NFTs are the product, not a share in whatever TV studio company that is launching it, which makes you a consumer of the product and not a shareholder. So usually this ends up being a Web3 imitation of crowdfunding, which is kind of odd if you think about it, because if it's a show, that means they have a studio, it's already funded. 99% of Web2 celebrity projects are cash grabs and they don't last. So you can't expect them to be in the trenches with you, building every day in Web3 and showing up and just working on it. And so it's unrealistic to think that a organic community can be built from someone who's not even in it. Basically, don't drink the Kool-Aid because it's much better to sell it than to drink it. That way you also avoid being stuck in an echo chamber where everyone's threading about how so-and-so is gonna be so huge for the space because they're bringing in all their followers. You have to realize that a lot of their followers may hate NFTs. There's just so many examples of Web2 celebrities that have done NFT projects which have completely tanked. There's more examples of those than examples of ones that have done very well. Now let's talk about some of my better trades. Let's start with pigments. This one was minted for 1.5 ETH and sold for 20 ETH, so not bad at all. And this is a piece from the Art Blocks platform, which is for generative art. And if you watched my previous videos, you'll know why I consider this to be more of a blue chip hold. The lesson here is 1, be patient, and 2, blue chips are worth holding onto. There were a lot of times that I wanted to dump this for lower just for the sake of liquidity. This also taught me that cash is king and holding cash is a position in itself. And last but not least was Karafuru. This one I minted at 0.5 and immediately sold for about 4.5 ETH. This one, I did take a little bit of a gamble by selling it pre-reveal because I could have had a rare, which would have sold for a lot more, but luckily it turned out to be just a common piece and I had sold it for around the all-time highs, which was an average of 5.8, and it has now crashed to about 0.57. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found it helpful. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you in the next one.